there it is over there. I'm sorry, Councilman Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody, thank you for allowing us to be here today. We ask that you give us the knowledge and the courage to do the things that need to be done for this board, for the safety of our airport, and we ask that you watch over us as we go our own ways. In your name we pray. Amen.
Roll call.
Board Member Duford,
Here.
Board Member Lambert, absent. Board Member Moore,
Here.
Board Member Olson, absent. Board Member Stouffville,
Here.
Board Member Tucker. Oh, not on ours, no more. Board Member Thomas,
Present.
Vice Chairman Scherer,
Here.
Chairman Craig.
Here. Okay. Do I need to finish something I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Order of business, consent items. We will first consider approval of the July 5th meeting. Do I hear a motion?
I so move.
Second? Anybody?
I'll second.
Okay, second. All in favor? Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Board Member Duford,
Approve.
Board Member Lambert. Oh, absent. Board Member Stouffville. Board Member Moore,
Approve.
Board Member Thomas,
Approve.
Vice Chairman Scherer,
Approved.
Chairman Craig.
Approved. Okay. There were no items removed from consent, so unless we have something else on that, information items, the airport director report.
Good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing today? You'll see in front of you all that I updated the manager's report with the fuel sales for the month of August. This wasn't originally put in the packet due to the fact that when we had to publish the packet, I wouldn't be able to have accurate numbers for everybody. So that's why everybody's got a separate one today listing the fuel numbers. So if you kind of take a quick look at that, for the month of August, we did 3,339 gallons of full serve 100 low lead, totaling out to $17,556.53. We did 18,112 gallons of Jet A, totaling out to $81,784.96. Self-serve was 1,813.23 gallons at a total of $9,229.34. We had a total number of 213 sales for the month of August. We had a total of $48,370 in parking and miscellaneous revenue. What that is that's annual hangar payments, it's monthly hangar payments, that's overnight hangar rentals, any call-out fees that are billed out to aircraft that come in that request, like concert special ramp assistance and items like that. So that's all where that totals up at. That gave out a total of $156,940.83 for the month of August to the airport. August was an exciting month for the airport, as well as a month of great news. And what I mean by that is item number one, we received back our BCA, or benefit cost analysis, for the FAA contract tower program. That came back at a 1.10. Now, in order to qualify for this program, you only need a 1.0. So we actually came back better than what we needed to qualify for this program. So what we started to do now is we're starting the application process. So we went around to several entities requesting letters of support for an air traffic control tower out at the airport. We got back several letters of support that are being put in a packet. I'm currently working the last 3 years of fuel sales for the airport, as well as operations for the last 3 years for the airport, to get up to KSA so they can put that with our application to the FAA. What this means is, once we submit our application, if we're accepted into the contract tower program, the FAA is actually going to pay for the annual operational costs of an air traffic control tower at the airport. One of the big stepping stones to get there is the funding. We have had several meetings between the college, Choctaw Nation, the FAA, as well as state rep and federal representatives, in regards to seeking funds to help us build a tower out there. A tower is going to run approximately $15 million to build.
How much?
$15 million to build from the ground up, sir.
15?
Yes, sir. Correct. So we've already kind of put the cart before the horse, if you will, because we've already started talking before we even did the BCA about trying to get funding sources. We've gotten very positive feedback from a lot of the individuals we've spoken to in regards to this. And so now that we have the BCA, we qualify for the program and we're applying for it. That's going to be another step in that direction to help us get that tower.
What sources are there?
So there's federal grant funds we can go after. I believe one of the funding sources was an ARPA fund through the federal government. I know we've been working closely with some of our local state reps in regards to trying to secure some funding from the state of Oklahoma to help us build this. And then, if we can get other funds from other sources, it all just depends on who's willing to come to the table first, I guess, is kind of where everybody's at right now, in regards.
What's the cost of High Tower? Is that physical construction, or is that the electronics and?
It's everything. It's the design and planning of it. It's the construction, the groundwork, the equipment that goes inside of it. It's everything. So, and once we get the funding put together, we can actually then start the design and build of it. Once it's approved and all the steps are followed properly, then we can get the design of it so we can figure out how tall it's going to be, where it's going to be located, what utilities are close to it, what utilities will have to be put in place, all those different items.
Will we be able to use OAC and FAA funding, or?
That's part of what we're looking into right now. We are having talks with our program manager with the FAA in regards to this as well. And that's KSA is kind of handling that one with me as well. They're assisting with that.
That include radar in the tower?
I'm sorry, sir?
Would radar be included in that?
I believe it would be, yes, sir. We would have a fully functioning air traffic control tower. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't assume that it would have radar. I mean, there's towers without radar.
You would or would not?
I would not assume.
Yeah, I would assume it would not, actually. You would know more than we do.
From what I'm getting, from the talks I'm having with KSA and the way it sounds, now that may be on me, I might be assuming wrong, but from the way it sounds with the talks we're having, it sounds like it'll be with radar and everything.
That's awesome.
Because we
That
do,
would be awesome.
that would be beneficial for our airport and specifically the amount of operations we're getting up to now. You'll see at the end of that list, I'm going to jump forward a little bit here, but at the end of this packet here, you'll see, so the total operations for the month of August were 4,448 operations. We have yet this year to have a month where we are under 3,000 operations for the month. We're only 6 days into this month and we're already over 900 operations for the airport, just this month alone. Now the school does help a lot with those numbers because of their training flights, but we're also getting a lot more traffic out of GYI, out of Addison, out of other places in Texas for training schools. They're coming up a lot more utilizing our airport. Sometimes they do get fuel, sometimes they don't. It all just depends on what they're doing there. But we are seeing a lot more training traffic in our airspace. And that's one of the things that we're using to help for the justification with the application for air traffic tower.
Did you say GYI or DYI?
GYI, sir, North Texas Regional. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't have radar, do they?
No, sir, they do not.
Would that be helpful for y'all? Would
It'd be helpful for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and if anybody has no further questions, I'll go on to item number 2, or I'll stand by for more questions.
Are we in some sort of agreement with KSA on this project, number 1?
Yes, sir, yes. So this task order was actually approved back in May of this year. The total cost of it was $15,000, $5,000 for the BCA and then $10,000 for the application process. So that task order was already completed or agreed upon, and they're in the process of working that right now.
What do you think the likelihood of being able to come up with $15 million is?
From some of the reports I've been getting, it's sounding very positive. I don't want to get too into the weeds on it just yet, but from some of the folks I've been talking to, they're very excited about this. Everybody's very upbeat. I know a lot of the individuals with the FAA it's being spread around the FAA quite fast in regards to this, and it seems like everybody's very excited about the possibility of us getting a tower.
Question for you, if they do get radar,
Mm-hmm.
would DFW, air traffic control, be tied in where they could look at it?
I cannot answer that one, sir. I'd have to look into that, and I can send out an email to all the board members with an answer. I'll probably have to have a meeting with KSA on that one to try to figure out if that would be something. So,
If this goes through and we're approved,
mhm.
does this change the order of how we're talking about doing improvements on the airport as far as ramp expansion and anything else?
No, it wouldn't affect any of that. The major things it would affect is obviously the operations on the ramp, on the taxiways, stuff like that. We'd have to get some new markings put on the ramp for movement, non-movement areas, stuff like that. But as far as future progression, it shouldn't change it a whole lot, except for the area around the air traffic control tower.
Okay.
So you don't, well, with that being said, you don't plan on having our OAC money and FAA money to go to it. The $200,000 we get a year from OAC, you don't plan on that money going?
No, we weren't planning on that money because we've already got projects set aside for over the next 5 years that we're wanting to allocate our BIL and our AIP funds, as well as any OAC funds we might get to the ramp expansion project that we're still working on, marking updates for the airport, things like that.
You're talking about different money from
correct.
OAC.
Yes, we're talking like ARPA funds and other federal or state funds we might be able to get allocated to us. Again, several meetings. We've actually got another meeting this week with one of the House of Representative members coming down to have a meeting at the airport in regards to this. So we're still having meetings. We're still working on funding and working every avenue we can to make this a success for the airport. I'm sorry, sir?
They gonna fly down?
I don't know if he's flying or he's driving. So.
What is the sale, I mean, what vocabulary are we using to convince the folks that need convincing that we need a control tower? I mean, I think for us it's obvious.
Mm-hmm. I know one of the big selling points we're using is the school, the fact that the school would be able to grow its amount of training flights they can do, amount of training they can offer to students, things like that. We're selling the fact of, it will help the airport as well as the local community grow and expand as well, because a lot more aircraft would more than likely use our airport or our airspace to get control through, being the fact that it'd be a little bit easier in and out here than it would be trying to go down to DFW area, things like that. The job creation possibility, the potential of the college creating an entire program to train air traffic controllers as well. So we'd become kind of a supply line for air traffic controllers out.
I'm sorry? I believe it's being discussed.
Correct, yes, it is, yep. So, few different selling points, and a lot of them are hitting home with a lot of individuals
To me,
that we've been talking
safety
to.
is the greatest selling point in my perspective.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, that's been number one key, is the safety around the airport and all the training operations we got going on, so.
Exciting.
lot of potential going on. The next item that we have is we finally got all the documentation, bids, and everything else moving forward for the AWAS project. The project has been awarded. Bonding's come back on the company. Everything else, they're just working on getting all the equipment and items together so they can get ready to kick it off. We should be having a pre-construction meeting here before too much longer to determine the actual start date of the project, the end date of the project, and everything else. Once we have this in, we're still working the TAF for the airport still. I'm waiting on back from National Weather Service out of Norman to get me some more paperwork that we have to sign for it to get going. But we're still on track to get the TAF. So, but we are finally getting forward momentum on the AWAS project. And then third, last item on there is, as I'm sure everybody knows, on the 21st of August at approximately 10:47 a.m., we had a Piper Navajo land at the airport whose right engine was on fire upon landing at the airport. Obviously, 911 was initiated immediately as soon as we saw the aircraft land. There was no notice of an emergency declaration from this aircraft. We really had no clue what was going on with this aircraft until he touched down on the runway. He was able to make it up to the Alpha 1 stub to get off of the runway before the pilot was actually able to get out of the aircraft. And then, unfortunately, the aircraft basically burned to a crisp. Fire department responded amazingly quick. They were out there in, I want to say, about 5 minutes of being called. Really, really fast and amazing response time. Got right to spraying. We had the runway closed down for, I want to say, approximately about 4 or 5 hours. That's including the recovery of the aircraft, getting any extra pieces off the runway, doing FOD inspections, getting a sweeper out there to hit the runway again, making sure everything was good before we opened it fully back up. Unfortunately, our Alpha 1 pavement did suffer some damage from the fire. We are looking at a possible mill and overlay of a portion of the asphalt up there, as well as a replacement of some of the concrete blocks up there as well. So we're working with KSA right now on that one to get those estimates. We are in contact with the insurance company of the company that owns the aircraft, and they're basically ready with a checkbook. As soon as we send them the estimates, the bills, and everything else for this, they'll start cutting checks to the airport for payment on all the issues from this incident. So,
Commercial flight?
no, it was a survey flight. Yeah, he was up surveying around the McAllister area when his engine actually initially caught fire. And per the reports I've been getting, he's circled up there for about 20-25 minutes before deciding to head on down our way. And as he was actually coming in on final, his engine caught back on fire as he was coming on final. So,
Surprised you get declare emergency if you caught fire up there.
yeah, we never, Fort Worth Center never got word of it, never called once on our frequency declaring an emergency, or even telling anybody that he had an engine fire.
Yeah. He had shut down and feathered when he touched down. I saw the whole, yeah. He did a good job.
So, but In regards to that, that's.
With that potential work coming up, is there any additional work similar to that it's always easier to get a contractor to come do more than it is less?
No, I do agree.
And is there funds available if we do have stuff like that?
So we are, November, we're actually gonna start the grant request for the striping and remarking of the airport. I don't know if that's gonna be outside the realm to try to get with the contractors on that or whatnot, or how we can work that. But it's also one of those things that we might just get a quick repaint job done on it, just so we have some markings up there when we redo the asphalt. But right now it's, yeah.
Are we charging storage for the carcass that's laying down there?
Not at this moment, we're not, because it's sitting in the grass. We've got it covered with a tarp. We need to, wind blew it off, we need to recover it, but we're keeping it covered with a tarp that we've got down there. So at this moment, we're not, but if it stays there, I told the insurance company that we wanted it removed by the end of this month. They're asking for at least another month. I told them as of right now, there's no cost, but if it stays there after the end of September, we will be charging for it to stay on our airfield.
I tell
Yes,
you,
sir.
there's really no point in not charging them. The insurance is gonna take care of it, so.
Mhm.
I mean, it's no sweat off their back. They'd be charged anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't wanna see it out there 3 months from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see it.
That's how we end up with F-27 for, 10 years or whatever.
So,
There's not much left of that.
there's really not, no, so.
It's amazing how bad they burn. Any more questions, sir?
That's,
Is that all you got?
that's all I got for right now, gentlemen, appreciate
I
it.
appreciate
Any
the-
idea how the sales for this year, August, compared to last year, August?
I'm sorry, sir?
Any idea how the sales compared to last year, August? Higher, lower, same?
I'd have to pull those numbers up and let you know. Like I said, I'm currently working the last 3 years of fuel sales, so I can send an email out and let everybody know how we're comparing it. The reason why I kind of stopped doing that is because it's one of those things that with the aviation industry, as I'm sure everybody here is aware, it's a very fickle industry. You could have 1 month, 1 year where you are just blowing sales out of the water, and the same time the next year you could be barely treading water. So it's just one of those things that I just didn't want to look bad, if you know what I mean, with the comparisons, but.
That's not just aviation.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I'm sure it's not just aviation, sir.
I'm surprised on the 100 low lead, almost double y'all selling compared to self-service.
Have you
I
ever
think
pumped gas at 110 degrees?
Yeah, a big part of that has been the heat. A lot of people
I
don't
guess-
want to flow their
Does
own.
that change if the weather's cooler?
Sometimes, other times they like the fact that we not just fuel the aircraft, we also wash their windshields if they want it to be
You take
done.
care of them.
We meet them at the aircraft, we make sure they feel comfortable. We try to contact them on the radio as soon as they land, ask them if they need services, helping them get to a parking spot, just making sure they're taken care of. And a lot of times they'll pay that little bit extra to get the full service because of the way we're taking care of them.
We have been on a trip, and I was gonna go to something else. I said, just have them do it.
Yes, sir.
Because of what you're talking about.
Yep. The heat and just wanting to get out of it, get a nice cool drink of water while their plane's being fueled. Yeah. So,
Thank you, appreciate it.
not a problem. Thank you.
Okay. Administration. Nothing on administration? New business? No new business? Then we're open for adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Second? All in,
Boardman Duford,
Aye.
Boardman Moore,
Aye.
Boardman Stuville,
Aye.
Board members Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Scherer,
Aye.
Chairman Craig.
Aye. We're adjourned.
Thank you guys.
Ladies and